What's up, everyone? This is Jeremy from Five Finger Death Punch, and you're listening to Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe, play it toxic.
Robert Englund here, a.k.a. Freddy Krueger, and you're listening to Toxic Radio. Check it out or die slow.
What's up? This is Tobin from Papa Roach. You're listening to Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe, play it toxic.
Hey, buddy. Rah. Hey, man, that's a sweet heavy metal happy hour t-shirt. Where'd you pick that up?
Thanks, dude. I got it at the Toxic Radio shop.
Toxic Radio has a shop?
Yeah, dude. It's in the app or online at toxicradio.net.
That is sweet.
Yeah, and I also got a rockin' Toxic Radio hoodie and a Red Band Underground shirt. Dude, I'm gonna look so rockin' at the party tomorrow.
Well, I think you look pretty now.
Oh, wait, what?
The Toxic Radio shop is the place to get all your Toxic Radio gear. Shirts, hoodies, stickers. Find it at toxicradio.net or on the app. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic. Hey, where you going, man? Once every generation, there comes an event that alters how we perceive our world. That changes our expectations of what is possible. This is not really one of those events. But hey, Toxic Radio has a brand new studio, and that fucking rocks. So join us in celebrating our excellent new home. Toxic Radio. Awesomer than ever before. Wow, that is so a word. So, been about a year now, we've been quarantined, social distancing, and now it's the dead of winter on top of it all. Like a lot of us, you might be getting more than a little down, agitated perhaps. Okay, I'll say it. Completely fucking batshit. Well, the good news is, Toxic Radio is here for you, and we understand. We're going to be doing... Wait, hold up. Can we dial it down a notch? We're being encouraging here, not selling sports drinks. Much obliged. We're going to be doing everything we can to keep you entertained and distracted with our lineup of shows, from Supreme's Funky Contradiction and Hungry for Hope to Paradelphia and Wire2wire. And never forget, the best music you can't find anywhere else. Toxic Radio, doing our best to help you stay sane. Seriously, can someone please shut him up?
Welcome to week 20. We've made it 20 weeks. Wire2wire Sports. I am your host, Gene Walzak, and to my right this week, he raced to the studio to get here first, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scholastic Shally.
Back in my chair.
To my left, I got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, laptop rocking, golden flashes. Today they were the golden trashes.
Heartless.
Catrell Simpson, the man. We got a lot to go over today. We're going to obviously cover the Wentz trade. This is the first show we've had since it happened. We're going to talk about the NCAA college basketball. We got a new 4 for each part. We're going to do our NBA snubs, All Star Snubs. We got our first base list, which has been a huge hit. It's been something that we're going to rock and roll with. And then we're going to talk about Carter Hart a little bit and the Philadelphia Flyers, and we're going to finish with You've Got to Be Kidding Me. So we got a ton to go over. Let's start with this Wentz trade. I went live. I had some pretty strong thoughts on the show, and I wanted to kind of share them immediately. Nothing's changed, but more and more stuff comes out each week, each day, and it just continues to play towards the narrative that I 100% have been talking about for 6 months, just like Shally has. We've talked about it on the show over and over again. And Shai, I want you to open up with this topic, what you thought on the trade, and then I'll get Control's thoughts, and then I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant.
Yay! So overall, I mean, if you're looking at it from the Eagles' point of view, it's not a terrible trade. As long as something crazy doesn't happen and he doesn't get hurt next year, it's going to end up being a first and a third. It's going to be a lower first because they're going to be better. But listen, I mean, at the end of the day, this is what I wanted for him. I think, as you mentioned, there's stuff that comes out daily now, and it's funny how quick the narrative is starting to flip. Torrey Smith has been on a bunch of national shows the last couple days. Jason Avant sat down with John Clark last night, and came out and said, even when he was hurt and he got a lot of grief for that, like he was trying to play and they wouldn't let him play, like they wanted to play Foles. Listen, it's real simple. This boils down to one person, and I don't know. I mean, I just don't know how you take the side of the argument that you're going to stand up for Howie Roseman. I just don't. I mean, like you said, daily there's new stuff coming out. You have players going online saying, the character assassinations. Chris Long and Malcolm Jenkins talked about it for 2 straight days, and Chris Long was pretty emphatic about it. He came out, he went out of his way to mention, like, hey, if you want to say he's got to work on his leadership or this or that, that's fair. But the other things you guys are saying about him is complete BS. Like, it's bullshit. Like, you guys aren't accurate. Like, I don't care who's saying it. Malcolm Jenkins echoed it when he was on his podcast, said the same thing. And then you have, Malcolm Jenkins making the statement, about Doug Peterson, saying, Doug wasn't the problem. He then doubled down and said Carson wasn't the problem. And he said the problem is still there. It's Howie Roseman. Look at how he's treating people. I mean, he's going to dismantle his team. And the moves he's made for the last 3 or 4 years, every single one of them is coming back to haunt us now. We released Deshaun Jackson, released Alshon Jeffrey, taking cap hits. Like, this team is going to be terrible next year. He absolutely ran this team into the ground. We traded our franchise quarterback. And the worst part is now, if you want to make this split, and I said this a couple shows ago, whatever you think about Jalen Hurts, it almost doesn't matter. But if you're going to give the kid the keys to the team, you're setting him up to fail now.
Just like they set up Carson to fail.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that drives me nuts.
They're literally doing the same thing to this kid. You're going to run him out there next year. Kelsey's going to be gone, and he's going to have no weapons. It's going to be him and Miles Sanders running for their lives.
So I can't wait. Get out of control. Give me yours. I want to get an outsider's perspective, a Browns fan's perspective, National Football League fans' perspective.
In total, I guess it wasn't too bad of a deal. I definitely thought that it could have been better. I mean, you saw what the Lions got back for Matt Stafford, and I get it. They ate some cap, getting Jared Goff, but essentially they got better draft picks. I do think that it's fair to say that the second should turn into a 1, but there is no certainty there. So I wouldn't just bank on that just because, I mean, so many things can happen. If Carson misses 2 or 3 games here, but the Colts still win, and then like the last week of the season, they're like, hey, let's just sit him out, give him an extra week of rest or whatever. Like, there's so many scenarios that can play out where, they make that pick stay a second round pick instead of turning into a first.
If they make the playoffs, it's only 70%.
Yeah, still.
So,
I mean, if you miss games during the season, though, and they still win, I just think that there's certain things that can happen. Injuries happen all the time in football. I'm not saying that Carson Wentz is injury prone, but injuries happen, especially at the quarterback position. With that being said, though, when it comes to how much this impacts the Eagles, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do come draft time. Do you still go out and get a receiver? And with the first pick, do they even potentially go quarterback? I think everything's on the table with you guys right now.
Yeah.
That's starting to pick up. I mean, It wouldn't surprise me at all.
I think it's actually smart that they're talking about getting a quarterback, even if they don't get one. I think that what they're doing, what they could be doing, is posturing to trade back 2 spots with Carolina. I think that's and that's me giving Howie a lot of credit. Howie's not. All right, so I hate.
Is he
Howie.
the smartest guy in the room?
No,
Thinks he is.
But one of the things about Howie I have to give him credit for, he's not a bad GM when it comes to trades. He's not a terrible GM when it comes to managing the cap, although this year it's absolutely atrocious. I'm going to try to be fair before I absolutely destroy him. But my point is, I think that could be posturing. I think that talk, and if they do have Justin Fields in their radar, I wouldn't mind Justin Fields on the Eagles. Now let me get started. You mentioned a couple players already. I have Darius Slay, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Miles Sanders, Malcolm Jenkins, Chris Long, Torrey Smith. That's literally off the dome.
Jason Avant.
Doug
Peterson's son.
Doug Peterson's kid.
That was the good one.
I cannot, for the life of me, understand how we can sit here and continue this narrative. And if you listen to Philadelphia sports talk on the radio, I'm sorry, but I've been telling you guys for 4 months that their reporting is shoddy and bullshit. Let's get started on the Chicago Bears talk and the trade that was coming out, and how I talked about that 3 shows ago, how it was full of bullshit and started by a guy that had 32 followers. And then Jay Glazer comes out and says there was never an offer made. Never. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, let's get a little bit deeper into it. The assassination of Carson's character. They want everyone in Philadelphia to believe that he was fighting to get out of the city. He didn't want to be here. He just ran away from the situation and this and that. That's bullshit, man. That's bullshit. He wanted to get away from Howie. He wanted to get away from Doug in the situation. He didn't trust the organization. And when you don't trust the organization, I don't know how you can consider. Like, we don't give Deshaun Watson the same amount of grief, J.J. Watt the same amount of grief. When you're on a sinking ship, you get a life raft and get the hell off. And that's what they are right now. And I'm tired of hearing that Carson Wentz is this bad person. Find a player that comes out and says he's a bad person. It's not happening. And watch Indianapolis Colts football this year, and you're going to find out how good Carson is. Watch how good he is. Behind an offensive line, a coach that designs the offense around their star quarterback, some weapons on the outside, and a running game. It's an absolute joke. It makes me sick to my stomach what people have been talking about on sports talk radio, different editors, different writers. Sorry, this is trash. This is trash. I know what my eyes seen. I know what my eyes seen in the Super Bowl when Patrick Mahomes didn't have his left tackle and his right tackle. I know what my eyes seen all season with Jason Peters half-assing it. I'll call him out. He's a Hall of Famer. He sucked these past 2 years. He's been terrible, mailing it in, stealing money. And you're mad at Carson Wentz for going out there trying to play hurt? You're mad at Carson Wentz for fighting every single play to try to make a play. He's trying to play hero ball. Be mad at Jason Peters for pulling himself out of goddamn games and getting $9 million to move to left tackle because our left tackle got hurt.
Over a hurt toe.
It's a joke. It's a goddamn joke. And everything that's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles right now is sickening. And until they remove the cancer that's in the organization, that's Howie Roseman, until they fire him, you have no chance of moving forward. None. I got to stop because I'm having a stroke.
I mean, you brought up good points. I mean, I even look at how the Philly media try to twist the whole jersey thing. I mean, this stuff started popping up on my social media, and they were like, "Oh, Carson's in Indy already, trying to piss people off." And then I read the dude's actual quote, and the first thing he said is he said he came at me super respectful, and I really appreciated that. He didn't come in and try to big time me. He didn't try to do any of the things that he's accused of doing here. And the guy's like, I can't wait to get on the field and start playing with him. But if you follow Marcus Hayes, if you follow Jeff McClain, you follow any of these dudes, it was, Carson tried to strong arm a dude to get his jersey number. It's insane how much the sports media has now doubled down on trying to get people to hate this guy.
Joe Giglio, Elliott Shore-Parks, yes.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, and you kind of just touched on it too. If you are an Eagles fan, if you step back and take your feelings out of it, this team is going to be epically bad this year.
Over under 5 wins.
Under. Hard under.
So then they don't need to worry about a quarterback this year.
No, and that's why I think it sucks. And then, but now you're having the reports coming out saying that when they drafted Hurts, he was nothing more than a back. And again,
you were the other reports they said he's Russell Wilson.
Yeah, who the hell knows what to believe? But you're starting to see those reports now saying that they never thought he was going to be the guy. He was nothing more than the insurance policy, and they have no confidence in him. So now it's starting over already. Like, these guys have nothing to do but write dirt. And I go back to the other thing too.
Clickbait.
Yeah, I go back to the other thing too. He's getting so much grief for not coming out and saying anything. He's done this every year he's been here. He's a very private person, and I think that is part of the reason the media in this town doesn't like him.
Yep.
He's not going to sit around and just shoot the shit with the media all night. That's not what he wants to do. He wants to go home to his wife. I think this all started 2 years ago when he got married. He got married, and he did everything in his power to have nobody find out about it so the media couldn't be there. There was no media pictures of it. There was nothing. The only pictures you could see of it were people that worked there for the staff, took pictures of all the players, Ertz, Malcolm Jenkins, all those guys that were there. There was no media there. And it was at Bucks County. It's 40 minutes from the stadium. Yeah. And nobody in the media had any chance. He doesn't like the media. He's a private guy. But for 4 years before this, it was, oh, that's cool. Like, Carson's going home doing his thing. Oh, Carson goes on a hunting trip with Mike Trout every year. That's awesome. He's going to help Mike Trout become a Philly before he signed his deal with the Angels. But now all of a sudden, now this year when he's quiet, it was, oh, he's too good for the team. Oh, he's not coming out. He's not coming out and talking about anything. Like, no, this is what he does every offseason. He hasn't changed who he is just to make people happy. That's not who he is as a person.
And I agree with you. And to kind of add on to your point about Carson, is I've watched this sports media town turn against him in the ugliest of ways. And I've watched repeatedly player after player after player come out and say, that's not accurate. That's not true. That's not what happened. Yeah, did Carson play well this year? No, but under the circumstances, who would have? And let me just make one,
like you said, look at the Super Bowl.
One more clear point, because Hackney's already on the wire line talking about Jalen Hurts.
Cool.
One more point. I want to be clear about this. I like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts doesn't have a chance in this organization.
No, I mean, I said the same thing. Like, I mean,
I like him.
No matter what. Listen, as a human being, the kid is
he's aces.
He's aces.
100%.
The kid's won everything. He's great leadership skills. You know, whatever you want to say about him on a personal level, you can, again, he's in the same category as Carson. You can't say anything bad about him. The kid's great. But we're now setting him up to fail.
Correct. And then it's going to be Jalen Hurts isn't good enough.
Yeah.
So then they'll finally fire Howie after Jalen Hurts has a terrible year and they go 4-12 this year. Right? By the way, Justin Howland was on the wire line earlier saying, who was on the wire line earlier saying Giants win the division? Somebody was. I know Justin Howland's a Giants fan. But I'll give you a bet real quick. I know it's a little off Carson topic, but I really, really am seriously, when my 30 days is up, I have a 30-day no betting after the Super Bowl. I'm thinking about throwing money on the Washington football team. And I want to do it because, can you throw something on it for me? Because I want to do it before they get a quarterback. Because if they get Sam Darnold or they get a quarterback, Washington's winning this division going away. But back to Carson straight.
I mean, I can guarantee you who's not winning the division next year.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm going to make one more comment, one more point in this, and I'll pass it around to you guys for any final comments on it, because I don't want to take the whole show of Carson.
No, I know
we got
people
a lot.
are tired of hearing about it.
Here's my final point. The hypocrisy I see from people about this trade drives me nuts. Carson sucks. Carson stinks. Get him out of here. Dude, we didn't get enough. We should have got 2 first-round draft picks. Pick your narrative. If he sucks, you're not getting 2 first-round draft picks.
Yep.
Stop being... in order to have a trade happen, you need to have a buyer and a seller. You're not getting 2 first-round draft picks if he sucks, and you sold him at his lowest value he'll possibly ever be. At the end of next year, he could go for 3 firsts.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. Any final thoughts on this? Because I don't want to keep... my blood pressure's already up. I'm ready for an awesome show, and I'm in a great mood. But I need to get those points out. Control?
So my final points on it is just... it's not more so on the Eagle standpoint. It's more on the Colts standpoint. I think the Colts will be a better team with... I wrote everything down. So I think Colts will be a better team with them. I think Carson will win games there. I don't see Carson being this MVP caliber player there, though. We haven't seen that from him in 3-4 years now, and I'm not saying that he doesn't still have that talent, but I don't see that in him. Like, I don't see him going to Indy and just automatically turning into this top 5 quarterback. I think a lot of that has to do with his confidence, because playing behind with that Eagles team and playing behind that O-line, I think a lot of that is going to hinder his thought process, how he goes through his reads and things like that. Of course, Frank Reich's going to help with that. I just don't think that he goes back to what we saw where he was, damn near untouchable in 2017.
So real quick on that point, just to be clear what my comments were, and I want to make them very clear again on air. Carson will win a playoff game within 3 years. I said that earlier this year. So this year was year 1. So this year 2, he will 100% win a playoff game. Then I said he'll get MVP votes within 3 years. I don't think he'll get MVP votes this year. I think next year, second year in the system, second year with the Indianapolis Colts, with all that salary, building with that group of people will look a lot like 2017 did. I think there's mechanical issues that need to get fixed with Carson. I think there's issues with his confidence in his head. I think those things need to get fixed. I'm not saying he's flawless. This is not Mortal Kombat. This is not a flawless victory. But I wanted to make those comments clear.
I got you. The other thing I was going to say is he's going to make – okay, I'll say this. I think the Colts still probably win this around the same number of games. I could see them winning 11 or 12 games. That's not to say that Carson doesn't make them that much better, because he's going to look a lot better than what Phillip Rivers does. I just feel like the way that team is, the way their division is, I'm not going to say that Carson is, a certain caliber quarterback in that division. But if Deshaun Watson stays there, Trevor Lawrence is there, and then Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, Carson's probably my 3. So I just feel like, and it's
Carson's
not going to be
not your 3 this year. Trevor Lawrence is not going to come in and be better than Carson Wentz his first year.
You've already had Trevor Lawrence.
You've already
had Trevor Lawrence coming in and being better than Kyler. And
I said as a prospect, his value within 4 years, within 5 years, building a franchise. His first year in Jacksonville.
No. I'm not saying just his first year there. I'm just saying like in general. Like okay. I think Trevor Lawrence going there, like he's going to being with Urban Meyer. I think Urban Meyer is a great coach. We'll see how he transitions to the NFL, but I think there's a lot of upside there, and Carson's going to be there for the next 3 or 4 years. So, depending on what all goes on with the whole Deshaun Watson thing, you got Ryan Tannehill there, where they don't ask him to do too much because they have Derrick Henry, but he looks great because they don't ask him to do too much, and he can do everything they ask him to.
You got to stack the box.
Exactly.
He's throwing against the 8-man box.
But then again, though, you got the weapons that he has. I think Corey Davis is probably going to be out the door, but AJ Brown is a big target. They'll probably get somebody else. I just think that division, it's not a great division, but I still see them losing 4 or 5 games. But Carson makes them look better. I don't see them being a legit contender in the AFC, though. There's too many great teams in the AFC.
What is your thought process after Indianapolis goes out and signs Kenny Galladay? Because that's what's going to happen next. Watch that next shoe drop.
I don't think
because T.Y. Hilton's not coming back, in my opinion, and I think they go out. They have freaking $50 million in cap.
Well, even if they sign Kenny Galladay, though, I don't see that being the jump to make them.
They're not going to get Galladay because Galladay's going to get tagged.
Galladay's gone.
No, I don't think Detroit wants to keep him.
Galladay is gone. They're rebuilding.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what they're going to get. I think they're going to get out. I think they're going to get Robinson.
That's fair. I think Galladay's a better target.
And I actually disagree with you. I think Hilton's coming back. So Hilton doesn't have a huge market. I mean, he's the one thing.
He doesn't have a huge market because of what the Colts did to him this year by handing him Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
But him coming, he's getting older. He is injury prone. Him coming back on a team friendly deal with a guy who actually throw the ball 50 yards down the field,
and I'm sure he wants to win there too.
Correct. He is. For lack of a better term, he's the oldest guy there. He is like the fan favorite guy.
No shit, Travis. I 100% agree with you.
What do you say?
Trevor Lawrence will win more games in his first 2 years than Jalen Hurts. No shit.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
I'll go. I think a lot of what you said, Cottrell, is accurate, but I think you're kind of on the lower end of things. I think the Colts win the division. Easily next year.
I do too.
A lot of it does shake out depending on what they do. But they're gonna have money. The only glaring thing they have to do is sign Bruckner, and there's no way that's not gonna get done because worst case they're gonna tag him. So if they use them from the tag, like you said, they're still going to have between $30 and $40 million to go out and spend.
Yep.
And that's before and here's the thing: as long as there's fans next year, they're in good shape next year too, and that cap's going to go back up to 205, 210, they're going to have $50 million to spend next year too. Like that team is in a really good spot at the beginning of its window.
I agree.
Like
has Frank Wright come out and said who his new offensive coordinator is going to be?
It might be Mike Groh. No, I don't think he has yet. I don't think he has.
No, I don't think he has either. But he's very. I mean, listen, he's very hands on. He's going to call most of the plays probably anyway.
Yes.
I mean, it's going to be a team type thing. But I look at it. I mean, my final point would be this: like at the end of the day, like I know they're athletes. I know they get paid an enormous amount of money. Like I am as critical as anybody. When athletes take time off or don't play hard, all that kind of stuff. That's never been the case with this guy. And we just we buried this kid. We buried this kid for no reason for one bad year. And I made this point a couple weeks ago. And somebody actually messaged me today about it. And he was like, hey, I saw the one thing you said. He's like, I couldn't agree more. And it's true. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're all going to look back and be like, we traded or we fired the guy who won the Super Bowl as a coach. We ran the dude who got us there out of town, our franchise quarterback. We got rid of the other dude who actually won the Super Bowl for us. And we kept the dude who messed everything up.
Oh, I completely agree. And
it's maddening to me. I mean, I just don't get it.
Final thought real quick on it, and we're going to move on to NCAA. I honestly, truly believe that what you've seen the last 4 games of 2019 when Carson was playing with practice squad players, people that believed, that tried hard, not Alshon Jeffrey, not Deshaun Jackson, not Nelson Aguilar. When he was playing with people that were really committed to doing well and doing better, you've seen how great he could be. But you made a great transition into talking about players that do some dumb stuff that want to get out of town or even opt out. I want to. We started this conversation last week, and me and Bill seemed to be on the same page. Cottrell disagreed. I would like to open up the floor on that, and I will give Cottrell the first bars this week because I honestly want to hear your defense of Jaylen Johnson and the Duke situation.
There's a lot that goes into that. I mean, we don't know what was going on behind the scenes. He was having not really bad, but he was having a bad season so far. He was a guy who's considered a consensus lottery pick going into this season, and essentially he's costed himself a lot of money. When I think about players opting out and opting in and things like that, a lot of that for me comes down to players doing what's in their best interest, especially in college basketball, because these guys aren't going to school to get a 4-year degree. Like, these guys know that their ticket is the NBA, and I know that's not for everybody, but I mean like the high level prospects who had the rule not been changed for the one and done rule, like they'd be, straight to the league out of high school, like those caliber players. With that said, guys like Shaun Wade, for example. Shaun Wade's a guy he opted out originally because the Big Ten wasn't playing, and he ended up going back to school. He came back to school, and he lost himself a whole lot of money. Had he opted out, like, after week 2, like, hey, I can't play outside corner, or I guess this is a different example, but if he opted out and said, I don't want to risk getting injured or whatever, like there's so much stuff going on right now, like I wanted my money to be guaranteed, I'm not going to blame him for that because he's doing what's in his best interest. Like he's given his school his commitment so far, and he's doing what he has to do to make sure that he and his family are set for the rest of his playing days. So that's where I'm at with that. It's different with a guy like Kyle Trask who quit after the first quarter of a game. That's different for me. If you do it beforehand, if you do it, even the middle of the season, if you do it beforehand and it's in your best interest, I'm all for it.
See, I'm the complete opposite on all that. Like Shaun Wade, nobody would blame Shaun Wade because, like you said, he opted out because they weren't playing football. That's the reason he opted out. He didn't opt out because of any personal interest. He just thought they weren't playing football, so he was going to go get ready for the draft.
And I get that, but I'm saying he came back to school, and now he's probably going to be maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick when he would have been 1. If he opted out after week 1 and he would have solidified his 1st round status still, I'm not going to blame the kid because he saved himself millions of dollars.
Yeah, but Shaun Wade kind of proves my point. Shaun Wade had a guy who went out week after week. Like he's on the internet. He's reading things. He's reading how his draft stock is falling and how he's losing money. And that dude played the season out with his team. He's like, I'm going out with my team. I got screwed out of because I got ejected last year against Clemson in the semi. Like, I'm balling out for the rest of the year and being a good teammate. He's actually a great example. This kid, if he was all about his best interest, why didn't he opt out after he got hurt? After he hurt his foot, that's a perfect excuse. Be like, you know what, I missed the last 3 games with my foot. I want to make sure I'm tip top ready for the combine, and I want to get drafted. I'm not coming back. He didn't do that. He came back, played a couple games, lost his starting spot because he was playing like dog shit, then was coming off the bench, kept playing like dog shit, and then decided to quit and transfer. That kid's soft. That kid is mentally soft. If I'm an NBA executive, I want nothing to do with that kid. That isn't best interest. That's him not getting his way and crying and quitting. That's what that is.
So as far as Jaylen Johnson goes, and I kind of want to get more into that, I honestly think that one player couldn't have did more damage to themselves and going to Duke, playing like a crybaby, and now watching their team be successful after he leaves.
They're undefeated since he left.
They've been playing much better since he left. And, you know, you got the number 5, 6 prospect in the country playing for your team and showing you that he's a me guy. Mm. And to me, that's what's wrong with the one and done. Look, guys, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, even 2 years ago, when the G League was just starting, I might have been on the player's side because they were forced to go to a year of college.
Correct.
And then before they went to pro. But now, and I got to give the Balls credit. The one thing they did right with LaMelo was the fact that he's like, I don't want to go to college and make a joke of this.
That's not what happened.
Okay, explain to me what happened.
He started making money as an amateur, and he wasn't going to be able to play college ball anymore.
Okay, so he went and made money into this 1 year where the Shanghai, right? Like in China?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can do that now. You can do that, and you can go take a year and go play in the G League. You can play in a different league and make money. If you're all about you and all about your draft stock and about your situation, don't sign on with Duke. Don't sign on and play and then like, all right, well, I'm going to be a baby and not be a team player and just then opt out now. I hope Duke makes the tournament. I hope Duke makes the tournament. I hope they make a run. I've never rooted for Duke
ever in my life
until right now.
I'm 100% with you. I hope, especially with North Carolina losing tonight. I mean, that game next week, that game's a big game now, like a huge game. And 3 weeks ago, it was kind of going to be a formality. I'm not going to root for Duke to win that game, but I think if Duke finishes up strong, wins a game or two in the ACC tournament, I think they're going to get in, and I hope they do. I hope they do for all those kids that stayed and pushed through it. And to one other point Cottrell made, going to Duke matters. Like I hate how people dismiss like there's no value in the college. Are they going there to get a degree? No. Everybody knows that up front. So there's no deception there.
Right.
I'm 100% okay with that. But him going to Duke versus him going to, some little, mid-major school.
Even not a mid-major school. Like I'll trash Ben Simmons for what he did at LSU.
Yeah, it matters. That kid is getting value out of putting on a Duke uniform all year long. It's a fact. If you put the same two people with the same exact talent level and you put one at Duke and you put one at some non-basketball power, the kid from Duke's going to get drafted before the other kid almost every single time. That kid is getting value out of going to Duke. So yeah, it is an agreement. You're signing a scholarship to go there for free for a year. Those kids aren't going to class. They're not doing anything. He's got to make sure he shows up to class a couple times a week to keep his grades up to play for 1 year, and he can leave, and that's fine. Everybody knows that's what the agreement is. There's no argument with that. I'm not taking anything away from that point. Nobody ever thought Jaylen Johnson was going to Duke and he was going to stay for 4 years and get a degree. Nobody thought that. But to get hurt, come back, play, not say anything about opting out or anything about it, then lose your starting spot, then start crying, then start playing like crap off the bench and get your minutes limited even more, then pull out the opt-out card, it's soft to me. If that kid wanted to opt out, he should have opted out the second he hurt his foot at the beginning of the year.
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, so he had the injury. He decided to come back because he wanted to be a part of the team. Like, he wanted to fulfill his commitment, I guess you could say. And he gets back. He realizes, hey, I'm not the same player. That could be because he rushed the injury. He doesn't feel the same. It doesn't matter if he's not playing well. He's not playing well after an injury. So I'm not speculating that he's not playing well because he's still hurt. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is he had an injury. He came back. He's not playing well. He sees that he's literally losing money by the game by staying at Duke. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna quit while I'm behind, so I don't get behind even more.
And I would argue that he's behind even more now.
Why? I would agree with Bill.
I don't think NBA
When
teams do
other
not care
coaches
about
come out and be like, "That was a great move for that program."
Other
for
college
that kid
coaches,
to quit.
other college coaches that are in the same conference as them. Of course, they don't want him there.
So let me give you a sidebar point on that, okay? So in 3 years from now, in 4 years from now, when Jaylen Johnson's in the NBA, right?
Okay.
Do you think that the opinion or the matter of Coach K or Jaylen Johnson? So, like, all right, let me just kind of spin that a little bit more. Let me just kind of give you a little bit more of a. Do you think he would have been in a better position if he would have went back to Duke, been a team player, worked on his game with Coach K, had his minutes restricted, and been a great teammate? And Coach K gave like, this kid's a great kid. Yep. He's coming off a foot injury. He's going to do this. Or what he did. And what he did was he walked away, and now you got coaches in the conference. They're talking about, it's a good move. And Coach K is kind of like shying away from it because he doesn't want one and done people to leave. Like, but you don't have his endorsement at all. So if you had Coach K's endorsement and played a team player and played the season out, or did what he did, what do you think was a smarter move for him?
I think at the end of the day, coaches at the NBA level, they don't care about Coach K's approval. Of course, they're going to respect it. If Coach K says, "Hey, this guy's going to be a stud," of course they're going to be like, "We're gonna take this guy." Like that's for sure what's going to happen.
So you think Coach K's going to do that now?
But it doesn't just take Coach K's approval to get you to the NBA and for you to make it in the NBA.
No, he's going to get to the NBA regardless.
Exactly.
He was a top 10 prospect.
If he plays well, it doesn't matter what Coach K says. Coach K could say he is the biggest asshole on the planet. If the kid can play, he's going to be in the league for a long time.
But he didn't play well. So he not only did he not play well, but he quit on top of it.
I understand that. If he goes to a situation where he is as talented as what we saw when he was coming out of high school, where he could have been an NBA prospect had they not had the one and done rule.
There's a huge difference between the 6th pick and the 20th pick. And that's what he essentially could do to himself. He could drop himself from being a top 3, 4, 5 pick to an 18, 19, 20.
But I think had he kept playing, he could have dropped himself to a 30, 32.
No way. Not with that talent.
Nah,
all right, so you give me an example. You give me an example of a player that was preseason rated top 5, top 10 prospect. And you can do it next week. I just threw you on the spot here.
No, I'm thinking now.
And then dropped just from one season of college basketball. Had all that talent. They're like, he's a top 5 pick.
For you. How many Diallo?
One season of college did that much to him?
Yes, absolutely.
And where did he end up going in the draft?
He was a second-round pick. He's in OKC. Now, let's see where he started off, though.
Because I want to know that. Like, I've never seen someone take a spill from like a top 5 pick to a second-round pick in the NBA. I've just not seen, outside of a huge injury. Have you seen that? Like, am I off base here? I don't mind being off base.
I'm sure there's going to be a couple. I mean, it's
Petey, Wiseman missed a whole year and still went second. I get it, yeah. Petey, good call there on the wire line.
Yeah, but he didn't quit.
I know.
They literally wouldn't let him play.
That was bullshit what happened to him.
I agree, but it's a completely different situation.
Diallo went 45, second-round pick. 1 year.
Was he ever predicted to be a top 5?
He was a consensus Under Armour, All-American player.
Well, going into college, I'm talking about like a consensus NBA draft.
What year was he drafted?
2018.
So who won that year?
Let's take a look.
2018. Let's think. That's 3 years ago. Last year was Melo. Well, last year was Anthony Edwards. Year before that was.
He's playing okay. Like, I don't know why you hate him.
Who?
Anthony Edwards.
He's playing okay. And LaMelo.
DeAndre Ayton went 1.
Okay, he was never rated higher than Ayton.
I agree with that.
He was a second-round pick, though. That's my point.
Yeah, but we're saying like we need somebody that was like 8 and that like did something stupid and then went from like being a top
Jaylen
5
Johnson was never the consensus
He was
number
listed
1
third.
pick.
No,
though.
but he was listed third.
Preseason, he was top 10 on every single
He
person's
was
list.
third.
Yeah, I get preseason. Yes, he was.
And I disagree with you that you don't think Coach K's word has any factor.
I'm not saying it doesn't have.
If they
any
call
word.
him
I'm
and they
saying
go,
that if you can play basketball, it doesn't matter what Coach K says. That's what I'm saying.
but he has to prove that he can.
I think that the choice of him proving that he can will now be a 19 pick.
Yeah.
You're going to come off the bench. You're going to be a guy.
And my point to that is if somebody's picking 6 and they call Coach K like, yo, honest evaluation of Jaylen Johnson, and Coach K says anything along the lines like the kid's got a lot of maturing to do, he's got a lot of this, he's got a lot of that, they are not wasting their 6th pick and paying that kid $30-40 million and taking that risk. They're not.
I agree with you.
And
that was my point.
And they obviously value, dude. Like they let him like all the NBA players respect him. Like they let him coach the Olympics. Like they put him in charge of that program. Like his what he says matters.
I agree with you.
I don't like the dude, and I hate Duke. But again, it's kind of like the same thing as like the Urban Meyer thing. You can't say he's not a good coach.
And I'll still trash, and like once again, I'll still trash Ben Simmons for his half-ass performance at LSU. I'm not unfair about this. I give my trashings to anyone. Any last comments on the opt-out culture? Because we got a lot to go over with NCAA.
Nah, kid's soft. I hope he goes in the second round.
So hypothetically though, the kid goes to the NBA, he averages 18 and 9. What's the thought about him?
I mean, he's talented. He's always been talented. I don't think that's what's that question?
Yeah, nobody's debating his physical talent.
Okay, so you don't like. I think it's a difference when you say you don't like his decision and then you call him soft.
You're comparing his mentality and his heart versus his physical talent. I'm not doubting his physical talent. The kid got to Duke on a full ride, was a top 10 consensus lottery pick this year. It has nothing to do with his physical talent. He got to Duke and he started playing better competition, got hurt, things didn't go his way, and he bailed. That's soft to me. They're two completely different things.
But you're talking about his talent, though. You're saying that he wasn't playing well. You know, he went to the bench. He's not good, essentially. They're better without him. Yes, they're playing better without him. Okay, so maybe he was bad for their team. But I don't think he's a bad player, though. That's what I'm also
You're not going to have a more established coach coaching you, and that coach wants as many one-and-dones as possible. He's going to get as many talented players in there as possible. He's going to do whatever he can to make that work with a talented player. Have you ever played on a team where the coach was just like, I don't care how talented he is, I'm just going to sit him? Like, it doesn't happen, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Coach K didn't bury this kid. This kid buried himself.
Yes, I agree.
No, I'm not. It's not me giving the blame to Coach K. He was okay. If you say he wasn't playing well, then that's fine. What I'm saying is he's saving himself a lot of money.
Bro, that was a great comment. Can you throw that draft day comment back up there? I love that comment. Eric Rosenblum, didn't we all watch the movie Draft Day when Costner called and asked why the number 1 pick's friends didn't go to his 20th? That is awesome. Great comment, by the way. Thank you, Eric.
If this kid,
I love that movie. By the way,
if this kid still goes in the first round, and
he will,
had he sat all season on the bench at Duke,
still would have went.
You don't think that wouldn't have played a factor in him getting way further pushed back in the draft,
bro? Where he was at, if he stayed, the only thing he could do is improve his stock.
How
he could have got worse. He sat on the bench.
Riding the bench at Duke does not improve.
I'm a teammate. I will ride the bench out with my teammates. He's a team player. You get Coach K's endorsement.
Team players don't get drafted top 15. They go after the talented guys. They don't care that you're a good guy.
He's super talented. The situation didn't work out for him in Duke.
Yeah.
You ride that out. And if you sit on the bench, you have no worry about getting injured anyway. So what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a good one. Come on.
Yes. But, I mean, he was still getting into the games. He just was limited minutes, not being able to put his numbers up. So
I don't think that would have meant. All right, let's get into the brackets. Control, let me just be clear. You made some very good points, and I love that you're always on the player side. I love that because you know what? Most times I am too. But when it comes to team sports and team player, and Bill will tell you this, and listen, I play softball. I'm not the best in softball in the world. I'm decent. I can hit the ball hard. But I played on Bill's travel softball team, and I'm going to get a softball conversation for 30 seconds. And I'm nowhere near the best player on this team. If 14 guys there, if I'm not 14, I'm 13. And I sat on that bench every time we had a tournament. Did I not? Took the book. I'll catch whatever inning. I'll pinch hit whenever I need. Whatever I need to do as far as the team goes. And that's why that has a soft spot to me as far as that mentality of not sticking there for your teammates. Granted, I'm not as talented as Jaylen Johnson is. I understand that.
But it's the same mentality. Like, to piggyback on that, again, not to, blow sunshine up Gene's ass or anything, but we had a tournament where we played 6 games. He pinch hit in a big spot every game in the 6th or 7th inning, went 4 for 5, and helped us win a tournament. That's what being a teammate's about. If you want to be the guy that wants to go and then you don't get your way, then he never should have went to college. Go to the G League. Go overseas and play for a year.
I agree with that.
The G League is a joke. And then 2,
so
it's different. It's different when you're dealing with money.
The stock, and he would have made
different
money
when you're dealing with money.
But he opted out because of money. That's his number one thing. He opted out because of money. So don't throw money at me. Then go make money. Go make money.
Originally, going into school, I'm not saying the money, of course, is going to be there in the future. Immediately, he didn't need the money. He went to Duke to try and be the best prospect possible. That didn't work out for him. Of course, hindsight's always 20/20. That didn't work out for him, so he opted out so that he can save himself his draft stock and save him some money. I'm sure Shaun Wade I'm sure he loved that ride to the title game, but at the same time, he's like, man, I cost myself millions of dollars by not opting out sooner.
Yeah, but Shaun Wade will be able to look himself in the mirror, though, and be like, I need to get better. Like, that's obviously the kind of kid Shaun Wade is.
I get that, but it doesn't take away from
Jaylen Johnson's not.
That doesn't take away from the fact that he cost himself a lot of money.
Jaylen Johnson wants to ride home in the car with Daddy and be like, Daddy, who's the best player you've ever seen?
Say that all you want. It cost him a lot of money.
That's fine. I would draft somebody like Shaun Wade before I draft somebody like Jaylen Johnson.
I'm with you. Guys, while you guys are arguing and having a huge debate, let's bring up Michigan-Ohio State this past Sunday.
Let's bury Cottrell Moore. That's fine.
All right.
Listen, honestly,
enjoy your regular season win.
Notwithstanding, that's fine. I mean, we beat you on your home court, so when you want to come to Ann Arbor and get it again, that's fine.
We'll see you at the conference.
We will. That is, I've literally, and this isn't a homer thing, it's the best college basketball game I watched all year.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
It was a great game.
I said the thing in our group text. If both those teams play like that in a tournament, there's only 2 teams in the country that have a shot at beating them, and that is Gonzaga and Baylor. And I mean that for both of them. If they both play like that, shoot like that, and play with that intensity, they are both getting to the Final Four.
I don't think Ohio State drops. They drop a rank?
Can't penalize teams. Like, somebody has to lose the game. That's just the way it is. But yeah, I mean, that is, we're going to see this week. We have Iowa tomorrow night. You guys go to East Lansing. Both good games.
Going to East Lansing means they're playing at Michigan State for everybody home.
Sorry.
Bill's a very savant, so I just want to break it down for everyone that's not a huge college basketball fan.
So I think those two are, I don't want to say a giant step, but those two are definitely the best 2 teams in the Big Ten. I think it's the next step. I think you have Iowa, and I think everybody else is below the 3 of them.
Okay.
I'm hoping to stay 1, because that means then those 2 have to play each other at least to get back to us. So that's a tough game for either team. But
your thoughts on the Michigan-Ohio State game?
It was a great game. I mean, that was something I wasn't expecting to see. Michigan, they shot the lights out, and then we were right there with them. It was great basketball in general. And
how often do you see regular season games ending 92-87? Like, that was just such a good basketball game.
I'm excited to see how this conference tournament plays out. And honestly, because of that game and because of kind of their role going up to that game, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these teams didn't make it to the Big Ten title game.
We are doing wire-to-wire brackets this year. We are doing wire-to-wire live the first day of the tournament at, I don't know, Chickies?
Yeah,
we'll go somewhere. Yeah. I cannot wait. This tournament's going to be phenomenal. Let's break down the top 4 seeds in each region this week, because we got a lot to go on with baseball.
It just sucks they're not going to both play that day, most likely, unless something changes drastically.
We'll see.
No, I mean 3 and 4.
We can do Thursday and Friday. I'll take off work.
I can't take off both
I'm
days.
just kidding. My boss is probably listening like, yeah, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
Gene's my boss, so I'm good.
True.
All right, so they redid the bracketology. We'll do this every week, and we'll break down what is the easiest road to the Final Four from each area. Gonzaga now has Iowa as their 2, Florida State as their 3, and Texas as their 4. What are you guys' thoughts of that?
I mean, after last night, I mean, it kind of looks a little tougher than it is. I still have no faith in Texas. They beat Kansas last night in overtime.
You got to give them credit for that character win. They were down 14 in the second half.
It was a good win. I mean, but again, we kind of know we're going to get into Kansas in a couple minutes, but they have Baylor Saturday. So I mean, we're gonna find out real quick.
Could it have been a look-ahead game?
I mean, I don't know how you have Kansas coming to your gym and you're looking past Kansas. I mean, that's tough.
I mean, I feel that, but I'm just saying, like, you're ready
I don't
for
think
Baylor.
so. I mean, I think that's been Texas' MO this year. I mean, they look great for spurts of time.
Yep.
And then there's other times I'm like, they're like you watch them play like
that was a character win, though.
It was, but
and I'll tell you this on the Gonzaga
and they have a couple terrible losses.
You're right.
Like, that's again, it's a consistency thing, and I think that is what separates the Baylors, the Michigans, the Ohio States. Like after their rough start, the Gonzagas, they go out every night, and you're getting at least a B+ game from them. And with the talent those teams have, you're gonna have to play. If they show up with your A game, like the Michigan Ohio State is a perfect example. Ohio State played great. Michigan showed up with their A+ game.
Michigan's just a better team.
We're deeper. Yeah, I mean
they're better.
Yeah,
they are the better team.
Yeah,
right now
could lose.
Yeah,
like
100%.
If Michigan came out with a B+ game. And,
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
but that's my point. Like, it's that's where you need to be, and Texas isn't capable of doing that every night.
I agree with you. So as far as the tournament goes, can Texas beat a Gonzaga? The answer's probably no. Right?
The answer is probably no.
Can Florida State beat Gonzaga?
No.
The answer is no, right?
Yes.
And I agree with you. I think Texas is better than Florida State.
Texas
I'll
might be able to.
I'll actually
Florida
disagree
State.
on that.
You think Florida State's better than Texas?
I don't agree.
I think you're going to see it.
Whoa.
Now, here's the real question. Can Iowa
Yes.
beat Gonzaga?
Yes,
Yes, they
they
can.
can.
If Iowa shoots the lights out, the way they can score. They can score.
Yeah, Iowa's the same way. Iowa went through a 2-week period where they couldn't beat anybody. And
How much fun would an Iowa-Gonzaga game be if they were both on their A?
92-87.
Oh, great, wouldn't it? It'd be the same thing.
It's going to be a hell of an Elite Eight game.
Okay, so your 4-seed bracket, Ohio State, your boys. Ohio State the 1, Bama the 2, West Virginia the 3, Virginia the 4. So you got the strongest 3, the weakest 4.
And
Virginia will not be the 4 next week.
No, because they just got smoked at home by a shitty South Carolina team, or NC State team, sorry.
I actually like that. I mean, outside of the West Virginia team, I like that region for
I would
Ohio
agree with
State.
you. The team to worry about there is West Virginia.
Yeah, but that's the team I don't want to play.
Yeah, but they're going to have to beat. They're going to have tough games. They're going to have a tougher road to get to Ohio State. Like they're going to have to beat Alabama to get there. That's a tough game for West Virginia.
And then I was going to say, like, in the NCAA tournament, eventually you're going to have to beat a good team.
Correct.
So I think I'd rather have just one as opposed to having 3 other really good teams in my region.
If I got to win a tough Elite Eight game, but I'm not challenged there, I got to stay healthy and like rest kids. And I got to win one game to get to the Final Four. I mean, that's obviously the easiest way to go. You don't want to
Ohio State versus West Virginia would be worth the price of admission.
The funny thing is that game could. There's like
a lot of ways that game can go.
Yes,
it could be in the
very
80s.
much so.
It could be in the 50s.
Yeah, and then
100%. I agree with you.
The lower scoring that game is, the more it favors West Virginia.
I agree with you.
But that game could also be a blowout, though.
It could be.
It could also be a blowout where like West Virginia doesn't score and Ohio State just has it going. Like it could absolutely be a blowout.
The higher scoring that game is, the more it favors Ohio State.
Agreed.
Here goes the cupcake region: Baylor, Illinois, Houston, USC.
I mean, I don't know how the hell USC got there.
I agree with you.
I don't know where they can't. They literally lost at home to somebody like they shouldn't have last week, and they pop up on the 4 line. I don't get it. Pac-10's terrible. Pac-10 is awful basketball. I'm telling you, if you're making your bracket and you have anybody in the Pac-10 past the first 2 games, you're gonna blow up your bracket. I'm telling you. Like there's not one good team.
Oregon's decent.
They're decent. They get.
I think Oregon looks better than USC. I swear to God.
I wouldn't really argue that.
I really believe that.
I think the only sleeper you have in the Pac-10 is UCLA.
Yep. But they lost their best players, so
yeah, they had talent-wise on paper, they had a team that could compete, and they lost their best player, and they're kind of struggling now.
I started this conversation with you guys yesterday, and I'm going to predict a huge downfall for the Fighting Illini. I think Illinois is going to lose 3 out of their next 4. They got a tough road. They got to play at some really strong teams. And here's a prediction that might come up a little bit crazy. I don't think Illinois, who's listed as a 2 now, who was listed as number 5 in the country last week, I don't think Illinois will be a top 4 seed come tournament time.
It's not crazy because their next 3 are at Michigan,
Loss,
at Iowa,
loss,
at Wisconsin.
maybe a loss.
That is literally the next 3.
But at the same time, though, like, you got teams like USC and Virginia. I know Virginia's going to move, but like you got those kinds of teams there now. So Illinois has the resume so far to still be at minimum of 4.
I agree now, but when they get the shit kicked out of them, 4 out of the next 7 games, they're not. Look, this is my bold prediction. Out of this breakdown,
I don't think it's that crazy to be honest.
I think they'll be a 5 or below.
I think what's going to hurt you possibly is even if they lose all 3 of them, they're not going to drop outside the top 20. They're just not because again, once you get
Which makes them a 5.
Because once you get below 12 or 14, it's kind of all garbage anyway. It is.
It is.
If they get to the Big Ten tournament and only win like 2 games, the Big Ten strength is going to carry them. They're probably going to end up. I would almost bet you if they lose all 3, listen, if they win one of those games, then you're screwed. If they go 1-2 in that stretch, they're not going to be lower than a 4 unless they completely melt down after that and lose in the first round to like Penn State.
But the other problem with that, though,
but they
is
could
that
lose to Penn State.
Illinois is a team. If they drop to a 5 seed or even maybe a 6, like that's a team who I wouldn't want to play. Like I think that's a bad draw for
Johnny
whoever's in the
Bracero says he
tournament.
sees him as a 6.
That-
Johnny
that's
Bracero
a-
on the wire line
That's
says
a
him
bad.
as a 6.
That's a bad draw for whoever gets them.
6 is a
Could you
lot.
imagine like the 5-12 game being them versus Drake? Drake's gonna be higher than a 12. But my point being is that'd be an ugly 5-12 game.
It's a bad matchup for Drake though.
I agree.
They're Illinois' big guards. Drake has 2 really good guards. They're quick. They're a little bit, and they can shoot, but they're a little bit on the smaller end. Those 2 guards for Illinois are going to dominate those kids.
Can USC beat Baylor?
No.
Can Houston beat Baylor?
Yes.
On the right night, they can. Defensively, with the right officials, they can. I agree. You don't think so, do you?
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not
It
gonna
will
say
be
that,
tough.
but I'm talking like
All the stars will have to align.
yeah, like if we're going like FPI like win prediction, like it's in the 80 for Baylor's. It's in the 80 percentile somewhere for Baylor.
I think that Houston could really, if they had the right officiating crew that's not calling ticky-tack fouls.
My only problem with that is though, and I agree with you, we've talked about this numerous times. They are a man up. They play man all game long. They're in your face. They have length. The problem is, so does Baylor. And if they let Houston play defense that way, Baylor's going to play defense that way. And then it comes down to
That
offense.
game could be 48-46.
But my point is,
Baylor scores though.
exactly.
I know. No, I understand that, but
and
my
that
point
is-
being
yeah,
is,
no, I
and
got
that is why I think that's a horrible. I like Houston. I've been on Houston all year. I don't want Houston in Baylor's bracket. I don't want them in my bracket either. But I don't want
Put them in Gonzaga's bracket.
That's
I don't want
fine.
them in mine.
Fine. See,
all right, so
I'm fine with
can
that.
Illinois beat Baylor? No.
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 This is my point. All right, let's move on to the Michigan.
Just real quick on that, though.
No.
I think Illinois could beat
No
Houston.
more. I'm kidding. You said
I
what?
think Illinois could beat Houston.
Yeah, I agree. That's not. It's not. I don't think it's a crazy thing. Didn't
They
like
have to
Saint
shoot really, really.
didn't like
well.
Saint Augustine's beat Michigan? Houston? I'm kidding, but terrible teams beat Houston this year. I just made me sick to my
They
stomach.
do have 2 bad losses the last 3 weeks.
Yes.
East
All right.
Carolina, and I can't remember what the other one was.
Your team, my team, Michigan Nova. I'm down there taking some water.
I'm fine.
Michigan Nova, Oklahoma, Kansas.
Now,
Michigan Nova,
that's a-
Oklahoma, Kansas.
That's the cupcake region.
I don't think it's cupcake.
Oh, no, I 100% do.
Oklahoma's a good basketball team. I hate how you guys could consistently discredit Oklahoma,
'Cause
but
they
you guys
can't
will talk
score.
about.
They can't score.
Okay, that's fine, but if Nova's had a bad shooting night, see, Nova can
That's fine.
shoot
They
the
can-
lights out.
They could beat Nova. They're not beating us.
I agree with that. But I think Nova can beat you guys if they
don't-
shoot right.
No,
I don't either.
I do.
No.
And first of all, I've been more critical of Nova than anybody. But if Nova's
Don't-
shooting,
Don't make me defend that team. Like, I don't want to do that. But
so you're saying nobody can beat Michigan in that bracket, right?
not.
Why don't
not
you bow
those
down and
4.
kiss the ring right now?
Not those 4.
Absolutely ugly. I think Nova can if they're shooting right,
The show's gonna get wild if Ohio State or Michigan win the national championship game.
or if Nova wins again. Kansas, I don't think they are. Trust me, I told you, this is not Jay Wright's best team. You obviously know that.
I would say, again, if Nova shoots well, Nova Michigan's a fun game. Like that's going to be an up and down game.
I asked you a question. Can Nova beat Michigan?
I didn't say they could beat them. I said it would be a fun game to watch. It's going to be.
You don't think they can beat them, no matter what?
No.
Michigan would have to play bad.
Yeah, well, no shit.
Like very bad,
Yeah.
I think.
I don't think they have to play very bad. I don't.
Michigan plays a B game. They win that game by 8. Easy.
I agree.
I like Michigan and this year, and I like them as a team, and I think they can make a run. I think they're the only team right now, maybe Ohio State, that if they play A ball, that can beat the Big Two. I told you guys before the show, I normally am a field guy, but if you gave me Gonzaga and Baylor, and I'm going against the entire field, I take that. I take Gonzaga and Baylor. The Loyola Chicago could make a run depending on what bracket they're in. Michael Robert Lafferty, thank you for the comment on the wire line. Keep the comments coming through. Thank you.
I'm all about them. I mentioned them a couple weeks ago. They're good. They're probably not the miracle team from a couple years ago.
They're not,
but they're very good.
And the games versus Drake without Drake's best player. And the first game they won, they pulled away in the second half. It was really close. The second game they blew a huge lead and lost to them in overtime. That says all I need to hear about Loyola Chicago.
But I'll tell you right now, like come selection time, you don't want to see them you don't want to see them pop up as like a 6 seed. You don't want them in your bracket. You don't want that to be your second game. You don't.
So my question would be like, so we go through that often. Would you rather see a Loyola Chicago or an Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State.
You'd rather see Oklahoma State than Loyola Chicago.
Here's what.
Give me that as a play-in game so I can bet on Oklahoma State.
Here's why. Loyola Chicago, the teams like that, they know they don't have a Cade Cunningham. They know they don't have a guy that can dunk from the foul line. But what these teams don't do, and this is why it matters, you have to remember, a lot of these teams have kids that are 18, 19 years old. Now they're playing on the stage where they got 80 billion people watching. They don't beat themselves, and that will win you games in the tournament. They don't turn the ball over. They make their free throws, and they don't foul a lot of people. They're going to make you shoot 60% from the floor to beat them. And if you don't, you're going to lose.
That Oklahoma State team reminds me of how Trae Young was at Oklahoma. Like it's Cade Cunningham and then a whole bunch of just nobody.
It reminds me a lot more of the Buddy Hield team.
I mean, they were
the team that lost to Nova in the Final Four.
They had talent though.
Yeah,
they had talent.
That Oklahoma State team reminds me a lot of the Buddy Hield team.
They don't have like that second guy though.
No, yeah, I kind of side with Cachal on this one. Like if Cade Cunningham doesn't put up at least 20, they have no shot of winning any game.
That's not accurate.
It
He played bad. He played bad versus Oklahoma, and they beat him.
Because Oklahoma's not that good.
Which
thank you.
Also feeds into that narrative.
Okay, guys. We have a lot to still go over, and it's we're running against it. So NBA All Star Snubs. I have two.
Did we cover all the brackets?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, all right.
NBA All Star Snubs. I have two, and then we got the first baseman's list. Then we got NHL. So we got to move.
Kata hot.
I have two NBA All Star Snubs. I'm tired of seeing top 10 list of guys that got snubbed for the All Star game. If you're gonna give me a snub, you got to give me somebody you would put him over. Don't tell me a guy's a snub when when you can't put him over a guy that's in.
Fair.
All right. So, Cottrell, do you have any snubs?
Yeah. I mean,
Sabonis,
Domantas Sabonis, and then Trae
Sabonis
Young.
for who?
Sabonis for. I didn't have my.
See, that's
ready.
the thing. You gotta have somebody.
I didn't have my list.
I came
ready.
to you and you just dropped the ball.
You gave me snubs. I'm giving you one. You're asking for too much here.
No, I wanted someone
you want your cake and you want to eat it too. I mean,
dude, bro, I eat a lot of cake. That's why I'm on a diet.
Cake.
Let's see here.
Bill just got fatter
list.
saying that.
He did.
2021.
All right,
NBA
Bill,
All-Star.
give me an All-Star snub.
The biggest one is Booker.
Booker made it.
Well,
they announced it today
because
he's not a snub. He's in.
But he was a snub.
He was a snub.
Yeah, I agree.
Fine, then I'll double down anyway. CP3 has no business being in that game.
Agreed.
Then Darren Fox got snubbed.
Darren Fox for CP3.
Yep.
I have the same one.
Perfect.
The exact same one.
And I'll even go as far.
I have one more too. You know my other one.
I do.
Let me say it.
I'm going to let you say it, so I'm not saying anything.
De'Aaron Fox was also on my list over CP3. From the
you want me to give them to you? Vucevic, Simmons, like who?
No, I'm looking at it now.
Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Who are you putting Sabonis in over?
Nikola.
That's wild. He's 20. He's averaging 24 and 12.
Wait, what?
Nikola. I put him in over Nikola.
You can't.
His teams, their stats are somewhat similar, and his team's better. A lot
Vucevic
better.
has better stats.
Like I said, they have similar stats, and his team's a lot better.
So I would put in Domantas Sabonis.
Nikola's averaging what, 1.5 more points?
Yeah, I think
That's
it's like
it.
2 more points and a rebound and a half.
No, just like
I
0.3 or 0.2.
I do think
on
the team
rebounds.
thing matters, though. Like, I heard a good argument today. Like, there's no way Booker shouldn't have made it. So, granted, he got in because of everybody knew AD wasn't going to play, but like he should have got in over Zion.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
2 points, 0.1 rebound more.
So 2 points a game and a 0.1 rebound. So he's a better player. So
worst team.
you want
On the
to
worst team.
you want to pull up Ben Simmons stats versus Domantas Sabonis? Because mine is Sabonis for Ben Simmons, and I'm a Ben Simmons fan. I'm a Sixers fan. He's not my favorite player in the Sixers, but my point is, I obviously I root for Ben. I had him listed as the second best 76er going in this year. I don't think he's played the second best 76er this year. I think it's been Tobias so far this year. I don't think he's the second best player, but I think Tobias has played better this year. But I will make the argument that Sabonis over Simmons would be my second one.
This is Ben's best year.
No, it's not.
I think a lot of this is
it's not.
A lot of this is relative.
That is ludicrous.
If you want to go strictly by numbers, if you want to do everything else that he's debatably the best. He might win Defensive Player of the Year. Like,
he's probably fourth on that list right now.
Who do you have in front of him?
Rudy Gobert.
It's the only one.
Bro, Rudy Gobert, and before Anthony Davis got hurt, Anthony Davis. Why?
Stop. That's insane.
Why is that insane? He won last year. He plays really good defense.
Yeah, because you're never. If you can't even argue. Rudy Gobert is a million times better defensive.
I don't even think Ben Simmons is the best defensive player on his team.
Who is?
Joel.
No. I love JoJo. There's no bigger fan than JoJo.
I don't even think Ben Simmons is the best defensive player on his team.
Right now, the odds have Ben Simmons is third behind Rudy Gobert and Miles Turner.
And who do they have for?
Giannis.
Okay. I thought it was going to be Joel.
Joel's at 5. They're at the same odds, though. They just have Giannis' name above them. Same odds.
Okay. So Joel's 4.
Tie for 4.
Probably alphabetical. That's why.
Yeah. Okay. So my 2 snubs are Fox for Paul, Sabonis for Simmons. They're my 2. Sabonis' stats dwarf Simmons. And the only thing that what?
They don't.
They do. Pull them up side by side.
15.7, 7.9, 8.3.
Okay. 23,
So he's almost
11 and a half.
20, 21 and a half, 11 and a half.
That's dwarfing stats. That's 5 more points and 4
but
more rebounds.
but if you go to the assist, don't look at the assist.
It's 2, 7 and 5.
No,
right?
it's 8. 8.
8 and 6, right?
Let's see what Sabonis's assist numbers
It's
are.
2.
It is okay. I'll give you that. It's 2.
Jesus, and this is
I'll
going
give
off
you
the
that.
dome. You have a laptop in front of you.
I gave you that.
His stats dwarf him, so the only argument you're
Once
making is the fact that they
You
dwarf
keep saying
him.
dwarf.
It's
Sabonis
a
is
total
the
of
number
9.
one. Sabonis is the number 1 option on a team that has nobody else. Simmons is a guy who doesn't score. We have to look at the game in full. Ben Simmons' defensive rating dwarfs Sabonis's.
That's
So
fair.
if you add
That's
all
fair.
that in together,
Yeah,
I can't say that his stats dwarf Ben Simmons.
What is their defensive efficiency ratings? I bet you Sabonis probably in the top 100.
Sabonis plays defense.
Not like Simmons.
Yeah, but
Simmons guards the best player on every team.
Let's bet on that.
every
No,
night.
let's bet on that.
Every
Who
night.
does that?
Every
Top
night.
100. I'll
Every
take that.
night.
I'll
Every
take that
night.
bet. I'll break my rule for that. I'll take that bet.
Every
Sabonis
night.
top 100.
So Sabonis is
Top 100.
not dwarfed by Simmons defensively.
Top 100. No, that's what you said. I'll take it. What do you want to put
Look
on
it up. I'm not going to bet it. I'm just telling you it's not close. You want to talk about dwarf? I guarantee you it's a bigger difference.
So he's
between
better defensively.
Way
Ben
better.
Wallace. Okay,
That's
okay.
that's the biggest difference between any of the stats.
Look, Sabonis should be in the game. Simmons shouldn't. Sorry. I don't even think Simmons right now is the second best Sixer this year.
Okay.
I think a lot of that too was very relative. We were so used to, you guys hated Tobias before the season.
I didn't,
because he was undervalued, not undervalued, but he was essentially overrated. He wasn't playing up to his contract, which he still isn't, but he's playing better, so it's okay. So all that being said, just because he's playing better this year doesn't mean that he's automatically all-star status. Just because you expected him to be this, 15 and
I thought he would be the 12th
guy.
I thought he'd be the 12th guy because I thought he'd be Doc Rivers' selection, which is why I put him 12th.
But I think that tells you all you need to know, that they got Ben Simmons over him. Like Doc knows.
I follow. I understand that, and my argument isn't Tobias over Simmons. My argument is Sabonis over Simmons.
Look up. I want to see how far apart they are.
Okay, that's fine. We got to get into baseball.
Okay.
Look it up, and we can talk about it whenever. That's fine. Tobias over Simmons. Oh,
Tobias over who?
No, I want to know.
He wants to know if Simmons versus Demonis Sabonis. Don't read the troll stuff.
No, I'm saying, who are you taking Tobias over?
I didn't. I said the two I had. I have Sabonis for Simmons and Fox or Paul. I don't have Tobias on there.
Okay.
We're going to get into first base stats because we're rolling. And dude, I love this show right now. It's been a lot of fun. But we got so many topics and we just cram them all in 90 minutes. Our first baseman's list, and there's a lot of people listening to this. No. We'll get into that, Johnny. No. He asked a question, but I won't read it on the wireline. Yeah, he shouldn't be.
That's horrible.
Okay. We'll start at 10. We'll do the same thing we did last week. Shally, because you're our resident baseball guy, you're going to start us this week.
Got it.
Give me your 10.
Number 10 for me, I have Hosmer. Eric Hosmer from San Diego.
Okay. Who's your 10?
Vladimir Guerrero, making the move from third base to first base. He lost a lot of weight. I think he's going to have a really good year in Toronto.
Okay, so I really wanted to put Josh Bell on this list. I'll tell you why. I think that he's going to play this year in the Nationals lineup, and I think the MVP is going to be playing in that same lineup, and I think he's going to see a lot of pitches, but I have him 11. My 10 is Carlos Santana. Who is your 9?
My 9 is Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Okay.
Same thing. I think he's capable of playing, a tougher defensive position. He came up as a third baseman. I think he's going to be very good at first base defensively. He lost weight. I think he's going to be built more for the grind this year. And, I think with the other young talent on the team, he realized he had to take, he'd take stuff a little bit more serious. And I think he's going to have a big year.
You guys are both probably right. I didn't put him on my list, but just because he's too much of a question mark, moving from third to first. So we'll see.
That's fair.
Who's your 9?
Carlos Santana.
Okay, so you have Santana on your list too.
Yep.
Good. I got Brandon Belt as my 9. Good defensive player, good hitter.
Yeah.
Who's your 8?
Alonso.
That's a lot closer than what Petey's asking if he's in the top 5.
I got Matt Olson as my 8.
Matt Olson's my 8. See, this list is going to be a lot more scattered than the last 2 are because I feel like we have a lot of different players on there. But we agreed on one. Matt Olson 8. I like it. 7. Matt Olson's the very same player as who his 8 is. And he probably hasn't flip flopped. Yeah, who's your 7?
I have Matt Olson. 7.
Yeah, see, I knew it. They're same player, very very similar player. Swing for Jesus. Probably gonna have a lot of strikeouts, which is good.
Yep. One plays for the Mets, so he goes lower.
I get it. That's fair. I respect that. The Mets hate is real. Josh Bell is better than Bell, is what Nick Reyes said. I don't agree, but he could be.
He's not better defensively. Listen, here's the thing. Bell's cool. Like he's a great talent. The problem I have with Bell is he's going to be in a better lineup. He's going to be surrounded with run producing guys. My problem with him is his problem isn't hitting the ball far. His problem is his miss rate. He strikes out all the time. Like if he cuts down on that and puts the ball in play more, he's going to pick up probably 15 to 20 RBIs over the course of the year. He has not shown the ability to do that yet. Until he can, he's going to be a 25 to 30 home run guy, and some of them are going to be absolute nukes, like the dude to the ball in the river at Pittsburgh. And he's also probably going to strike out twice a game. Like that is what he does.
I get it. It's fair. I had him 11th, bro.
I think you can make a very good argument for Belt being over the list over Bell. I was kind of standing up for your list.
So your 7 was Alonso, or your 7 was Olson. Your 7.
Max Muncy.
And wow, way too low, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is the first time you got to be kidding me happened during a list.
You got to be kidding me.
My 7 is
Charles' first base list.
My 7 is Pete Alonso. Had a monster rookie year. Took a really big step back last year. I still think he's going to hit the ball really well. He's a liability defensively. Yeah, he's my 7. I think that's where he belongs. 6.
Anthony Rizzo for me.
Jesus. Damn it. God. You have 6 too?
Anthony Rizzo's my 6.
Oh, God. Anthony Rizzo's my 6 too.
Well, which means we got that one right.
It's about where he should be at. Anthony Rizzo is not what he was 4 years ago, but he's still a good enough hitter and a smart enough defender to be in the tops. Yeah. He's got Bell 9, Olsen, Bell 10, Olsen 9, Petey. Come on, keep going, Petey. I want to see the rest of them. Mike, put them up. I want to see Petey's list.
So 5 for me. This guy kind of, I put him here because I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if he's going to do the Pete Alonso thing and take a step back, or if he takes a step forward, then I mean he's a top 3 first baseman next year. So for me, it's Luke Voigt from the Yankees.
Luke Voigt.
Voigt, I mean, sorry.
No, I'm with you. I have the same thing at 5.
I hate you guys. Luke Voigt's my 5 also.
This is the problem. Our 5 and 6 is identical. So wait, why Alonso and not Bell? Dude strikes out 3 times a game.
Because
Alonso had 50 home runs
yeah,
in a season.
Bell's never had the year Alonso had 2 years ago.
I agree 100%. That's why, Nick. I know you're a Mets hater because you're a Yankees fan, Nick. Nick Reyes is one of our best listeners. Tried and true Bronxer, New York Giants, New York everything.
Well, if he's a Bronxer, then he's a Yankees guy.
Yeah, he's a Yankees guy. He's a Giants guy.
Knicks guy,
yeah. 100%. And the Knicks are playing well this year, guys. Thank God Julius Randle made it because I think that he would have been a huge snub if he didn't. Give me your number 4 because we all have Voigt 5.
I mean, he's got to have somebody up there crazy then because I have Muncy 4.
He's got Alonso.
Oh, all right, yeah.
That's the joke.
Christ. Yeah.
You have who?
I have Muncy 4.
Yeah, so do I. I have Muncy 4 too. So me and you have had 4, 5, 6 identical at this point.
Pete Alonso is my 4. I think he's going to be due for a monster year. Frankie's going over there. He's going to have a lot of RBIs. I think Pete Alonso has a great year, bounce back year.
So
hope he figures out how
in order for him to be your 4, he needs to see a lot of fastballs and he needs a lot of balls out of the ballpark. He needs to have a year like he had his rookie year because his defense stinks.
Of course.
Okay. Who's your 3?
Jose Abreu.
Jose Abreu is my 3.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you guys. I have Jose Abreu, last year's MVP, up a little higher. I have Goldie 3.
Yeah,
Give me Paul Goldschmidt. Good player, solid hitter, great defender. Give me your number 2.
Goldschmidt's 2 for me.
Goldschmidt's 2. Got it.
Goldschmidt's also 2 for me.
I'll take last year's AL MVP. Jose Abreu.
Yeah, I mean it's.
And as one, do we really need? All right, here's the rest of P's list. On the wire line, he's got White, Hosmer, Goldschmidt at 6. Dude, you Vlad Jr. at 5.
I love the Pete Alonso love.
Pete Alonso at 2.
3.
Oh no, I see. All right, I'm reading it wrong. This is a terrible list, Petey.
I mean,
he's got Vlad Jr. at 4.
I'll be honest.
Goldschmidt at 5.
Listen.
He's got Vlad at 5.
5. You're
all right.
Yeah,
I got it.
No, listen.
Pete Alonso at 3.
Alonso at 3 is kind of, but again, listen. We're talking about it. If Frankie does Frankie stuff, at some point they're gonna stop pitching to him, and they're gonna start putting him on base, and then he's gonna get fastballs to hit. If he hits them, then I mean, we know what his ceiling is. I mean, he's already done it. I mean, it's probably his career year and his rookie year, but I mean, he's still capable of hitting 40 home runs. Is he going to do that? I don't think so.
Somebody else throw a top 10 list up.
But he can. And listen, that Toronto team's going to score runs. I mean, that is one of the reasons.
I think he just took a fantasy baseball lineup.
No,
he did it based off of hit.
The only reason
So Nick Reyes got top 5 here. He's got Voigt 5, Muncy 4, Goldie 3, so he's got my 5.
Yeah, man, that's pretty good.
That's mine. Thank you.
No, listen, I'll stick up for Petey on this because I've talked to Petey a bunch off the show about list. He puts time into it. He's definitely.
I know. I know. I'm not saying.
Mean, he's just going out on a limb on a couple guys. That's all. He could be right. He could look like a genius.
I could see Vlad having But if Vlad has a really good year, though, I mean, he lost weight. Like, he's put in the work to have success. Like, he moved over to first.
We
like,
said that about Pablo Sandoval too.
Yeah, but you can't just say that about, like, just because one player it didn't work out for him, that doesn't mean that for another player it's not going to work out for him. Like, it's different.
Remember who he's hitting behind too. I mean, again, talk about guys that are going to get pitches to hit. He's going to get pitches to hit.
He just made a really good point. Goldie's going to hit in front of Arenado. It's going to give him so many more pitches to hit. They're going to go 3-4, Goldie Arenado.
It might be the other way.
It might be. You might be right.
I would bat Arenado 3, but that's me.
That's fair.
And
we all have Freddie 1, right?
Yeah. I mean,
all right, we're not like
it's
this is
Freddie, and this is one of those lists too where it's Freddie and it's a step. Like he is, like both.
I don't think it's that big of a step.
It is.
I don't. I think Freddie is number 1. But I mean,
you think Abreu's right there with Freddie?
Yes.
You can't argue anybody else to be number 1 on this list.
I
think if you
fair,
make the argument for anybody, it would be for Paul.
You can make an argument for Goldschmidt. You can make an argument for
that's
Abreu.
A thin argument.
You can make an argument for both of them, in my opinion.
Freddie's.
I have Freddie 1 too.
I get that, but all I said was my statement. He's done it year in and year out, and he's actually getting better. He just a pure hitter out of that whole list. It's not nobody's even close to as good as him. Abreu's getting older. He won the MVP last year, but let's not forget they played a 60-game season. Like, let's not act like he put up like 130 RBIs and 120 runs. Like,
yeah, Hackney just said Goldschmidt's batting ahead of Nolan in projected lineup.
I mean, well, again, I mean
that could change though.
Yeah,
it could.
We'll
but I mean, if Goldie sees that many pitches, Goldschlager.
I mean, it boils down to who you want to throw the fastball to. I mean, so if you feel better going after Goldschmidt, I mean, then you would rather have him in front. I don't know what they're gonna do.
That's a tough lineup. That's a tough 3-4.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have guys on front of him. I would put Arenado 3. I mean, you're protecting him with Goldschmidt then, but because I don't know who's gonna bat 5 on that team, so that's important as well. Because if you're putting Arenado 4, you can't have like
nobody bat 5.
You can't. Yeah, if you have a bum behind him, then they're just gonna walk Arenado. So,
I agree. So, like, Hackney said, it's crazy talk. Freeman's head and shoulders above the rest.
He is.
I don't agree. I think he's
you don't
better.
Agree. I get it.
I think he's better than the other two. But like, we're talking about like, I don't know how to do it based off anything but like Madden rankings, like putting like overall like MLB The Show rankings, and like taking a player that's like 96 out of 100, and then looking at Abreu's like a 91.
I think,
and a Goldschmidt's like a 91.
No, see, I actually disagree. I think because if you're going off that, you're saying like Trout and like Betts, people like that are like 99s.
Yeah.
Then Freeman's the only first baseman in the 90s.
Okay, that's my point being. I think
know
they're
what
about
you're saying.
4 or 5 rating point different.
I'm respecting what you're saying. You're disagreeing with me. I disagree with you. I think he is, bar none, the best first baseman in baseball, and I don't think it's close.
And you agree?
I think there's arguments to be made, but I do think he is like he should be the unanimous.
Yeah, no, we all have unanimous, but
right?
But like, all right. So when you look at, all right. So do you think there's a bigger differential at first base or catcher?
First base.
What do you think? Grandal and Romito. So we had 2-1 last week.
I would agree. I think it's first base.
I think it's catcher.
I say that though. As good as JT is, if we're talking about our MLB rankings,
yeah,
I think Freddie and Abreu and Goldschmidt, their rankings are just that much higher than what the catcher's ratings would be.
No, yes, I think they're all better players,
right?
But my point is, I think the difference between 1 and 2 is bigger.
No, I get what you're saying, but I'm saying like if JT was like that caliber, like if he was like a 95 overall player, and
he's not.
Then it was like the next one down, then I would agree with you. But I don't think it's that way with catcher.
Catcher's a weaker list, so I mean, it's you have more. Yeah, you have more talent on the first base list. There's better players on the first base list.
Our second base list next week is going to be absolutely, completely thrown off wild. I know it. I really do, because I looked at MLB's top 10. And I'm nowhere near theirs.
I just want to get past next week because that's when it gets good.
Yeah, shortstop, third base, outfield. Yep.
Oof,
I agree with you. It's going to be a lot of fun ones.
I feel like I feel like there's going to be one of ours, like maybe shortstop or third, that's just going to be like 10 through like 3 is going to be like the same. There's gonna be, I feel like there's going to be one list where we're just to get outfield. No.
Hold on. Johnny Bracero on the wire line just said JT is good, but he can't call a game.
That's I don't know how false I can say that is.
Oh my god.
Why? Like, there's no.
You just hurt my head, dude.
Yeah, Johnny B. I love you, bud, but that's
that might have been his worst comment he's ever made on the wire line.
Not even close. I mean, it's absolutely is.
He normally comes with like real fire,
and he knows the game. I mean, dude, people. Defense and calling a game is the strength of his game. Like, that's the thing. Like, he's a 275, 280 hitter with decent pop. He's going to hit you like 20, 22 home runs a year.
And he'll throw out
laser
beams.
He's going to throw out everyone. Like, and you can't say he doesn't call a game like that. Johnny B. Like, come on, bud. That's crazy.
Come on, man.
Come on,
gotta be kidding me.
You got balls.
All right, so let's move on.
What time is it?
It's 10:24.
I mean, you got to pick your poison. You want to do hockey or you want to do Tiger?
Hockey.
All right.
What are we talking? Prayers up to Tiger. I'm super, super glad that the reports came out right away that said they can throw out the alcohol thing. I thought that was very premature, that people were already saying it was alcohol and things like that. I hope Tiger's better. I hope he gets back on the golf course. I know the injury's bad, and my just prayers up for him. I'm not one of those people that jumps to the conclusions about what's going to happen to him. I will never rush to judgment. I talked to you guys last night about that on the show. About the show. Tiger's thing is, man, my prayers up to him, and I'm glad that they ruled it out right away a day afterwards. They're like, there's no alcohol. It was just an accident, guys. So I think that's really insensitive, the things that have been coming out about him. I just think that's wrong. And regardless of your feelings on him, or if you don't like him, or if you do like him, he's a human being, and he got in a car accident and he hurt himself really bad. And my prayers will be up for him. And I'm just is there anything else you want to add to that part?
No, I mean, I think the one thing that people have speculated on that I do think is going to be true, that car has, for lack of better terms, has what's called a black box. So, I mean, they're going to know, the sheriff even alluded to it yesterday. They do think he was probably going too fast. They didn't say he was like excessively speeding.
Yeah, everyone goes too fast in their car.
Agreed. So, I mean, that's probably going to play into it. I am glad it's not an alcohol thing. I am praying that it's nothing else on top of that. I hope it gets better. I mean, listen, kind of like what you said, whatever you want to think about him as a person, or a player, whatever, he's made golf what it is right now. But, more importantly, you just hope he gets better. I mean, you hope that he gets to play again.
Next year. Hopefully next year. Yep, that's my thought process.
Every doctor, there's only been a few, but that have come out and said anything about it. They're like, he is absolutely 8 to 12 months away before even thinking about playing.
Oh, yeah, no.
Golf, so.
All that stuff, that's terrible. My point being is I hope he gets back to playing, and I wish him the speedy recovery. Any thoughts on that, Cottrell?
No, I mean, I got nothing else to add. I mean, he wasn't playing great golf before, but at the same time, like, these injuries on top of that, like, the one thing with him that I will say is that, like, who knows where he'll even be at mentally, if he wants to golf anymore, like, or if that is something like that accident, he's like, you know what, I'm just going to focus on getting my kid to, get into that professional level and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out and, where he goes from there, but definitely prayers up to Tiger, though.
I think I think we'll be able to talk about it a little bit more in depth probably next week once. I mean, you would assume you're going to hear from him.
I want to do that list next week.
We can do it.
I do. We have a list that we're going to put together. It's a GOAT list.
I just think your topic's going to dominate the show.
Yeah, well, that topic's going to be fun. We got a fun one. We're not going to let the cat out of the bag yet. The only thing I want to talk about hockey-wise, and we'll get more into hockey next week too, is Carter Hart. And I said it in like 2 months, or a month ago, or 2 months and a half ago, or whatever, a month ago when the season first started. And he had a couple bad games out the gate. And I said, Carter Hart might be something to be concerned about. And I got shoo-shooed, and he's very talented, and I get it. I'm going to bring it up again. And then, now let me just be clear to all you Flyers fans. At least the Flyers fans are a little bit more loyal. To all you fair-weather Philly fans. Don't run this goalie out of town, stupid. Okay? I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, dummy, right there. Don't run this goalie out of town. He's very talented. But What are your thoughts on the Flyers and what they can do with Carter Hart to kind of get him back to where he was at? Do you want him to play through it? Do you think they should sit him down a couple games?
He didn't play tonight, so listen.
Good.
The one thing, I was talking to Tom Campbell. I've talked to Billy Cunningham about it a little bit too. Everybody's making a big deal about the Lake Tahoe game. I said the same thing. I said it right away when I was watching the game. He wasn't seeing the puck. I don't know if that's his lack of never like really playing outside where like a lot of older people have. Obviously, you're being a goalie. It's the most important thing in the world. If you can't see the puck, I mean, what the hell are you going to do? But, I remember, texting Billy. I saw a couple people online say the same thing. He just didn't look like he was tracking the puck. Like, he looked like he was struggling with, like, the sight lines or that game. He's not played anywhere near the level he played at last year. No training camp hurts.
Yep.
He is the one thing I love about him, especially for a young kid. He's almost to the point where he over prepares. He is a creature of habit. He takes everything very seriously. I'm not going to put him on this level, so before anybody goes crazy with what I'm about to say, I'm just saying I'm comparing the way he likes to stick to a routine. He is like Tom Brady. He does it to the point where he does a thing where he squirts the water before every game. He jumps up. He has a set routine. He does everything the same every day. Warm up is exactly the same. He has a precise way he likes going through his warm up. He's a quirky kid, but for a 21-year-old to be that prepared, be mentally prepared. Listen, this is what you're going to get also with a young goalie playing the NHL. He wasn't going to be Marty Brodeur, 21 years old.
I think they need to sit him down for a couple of games.
I guess
maybe 2-3 in a row.
He didn't play tonight. The only problem with him is he is a volume guy. Like you need to stick with him until he has that great game, because then once he has that great game, then you're gonna get 6 of them in a row.
I agree.
You just have to struggle with him until he gets to that point. And on top of and then you factor in the defense has been atrocious in front of him. Anybody not named Provy or Sanheim have been garbage for this team.
And this Carter Hart stuff reminds me so much of the Carson Wentz stuff.
It's not to that point yet.
I know. I just hope it doesn't get there.
It won't, and I'll tell you why it won't. Because
Flyers fans are more loyal.
Correct. The core Flyers fans know what he is, know what we have. They also know the one thing we've prayed for over a decade now was to have the kid in between the pipes that you can build a team around. He is that kid. I don't care if he's had 6 bad games this year. Nothing he's done this year has wavered me or anybody who really follows the game on him. He's the truth. He's everything. He's everything we're going to want him to be. He's having a couple bad games. He's a professional athlete. It happens.
More than a couple, but I get it.
He also had he had 3 or 4 games in a row where they won that he played really well. And then he had that one bad game. Again, it's up and down. I think you're going to see him in the second half, like
dominate.
Yes.
Good.
I do.
That's what I wanted to hear. Let's get into You Gotta Be Kidding Me. Control, I'm going to start with you, brother.
All right, so my You Gotta Be Kidding Me this week is a couple days ago, JJ Redick was playing against the Boston Celtics, and in the third quarter of the game, he tossed the ball back to the referee. I guess the ref didn't like the way that he tossed it to him, and he ejected him. 2 techs, and he was out of there. It was a close game against the Celtics, and I just thought that was absolutely insane. For whatever reason, the ref thought he was being stood up because JJ Redick he spun the ball back to him, but ejecting JJ Redick for that kind of pass and that kind of game, it's absolute joke. And so
Mike,
for that,
hold on, Mike, do you have the video for that? Because I would love to just throw that on the screen so the people that wire2wire could watch that.
Yeah, the
if
video.
If you don't, it's fine. It's the one that Cottrell sent you earlier.
The video for that is crazy. It's once you see it, you'll definitely understand why You Gotta Be Kidding Me this week.
Yeah, if we can't throw it up, that's fine. I just want you to look it up because it's very obvious, and I completely agree with Cottrell. So, Cottrell, I apologize to interrupt you. Continue.
I'm glad you agree with me, though.
I 100%
We're on the same page there.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Shally. The Scholastic one.
Mine this week, it's probably the last week for that nickname, but mine this week is the Washington football team as a franchise. Not so much the team on the field, kind of more the higher-ups. If you've been following football this year, they've gone through a couple scandals with like sexual harassment claims, like just general like prejudice, racist, behavior going on in the front office. And then Alex Smith had an interview with GQ that came out, I believe, yesterday. Cottrell's favorite no sympathy player. Pretty much saying that when he came back from the injury, that he felt like he was almost kind of like a PR stunt. Like he got the feeling from even from Ron Rivera that they wanted nothing to do with him. They didn't want him on the team. They didn't want to feel the pressure to play him. But then it's funny, come the end of the year after Dwayne Haskins, submarined his career. Their other quarterback got hurt. Now all of a sudden you need Alex Smith. My point is this. Everybody's familiar with Alex Smith's journey. Dude almost lost his leg, had a serious infection. What that guy went through, the effort, the time, everything he put in to come back to the NFL and play. If you don't want him around your football team, A, that's crazy to me. I don't know what is more inspiring for any player in that locker room than to watch Alex Smith run back on the field again after he went through. But B, if you don't want him on your team, then cut him. Let him go play somewhere else. Don't treat him like a sideshow. Don't treat him like a circus. The man went through too much and put in too much time and effort to come back. So typical Washington football team, Dan Snyder move. Dude's a joke as an owner, but that's a whole different discussion for another day. So this week for me, it's the Washington football team.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Mine is like a two-part one this week. It's a mixture of Draymond Green and the officials in the Golden State versus Charlotte game. Draymond Green, if you didn't see it, went absolutely berserk over a blown call. And it was a blown call, and it was a very bad call in a close game. Steph Curry didn't play, and the Golden State Warriors were beating Charlotte at Charlotte. It was 100-98. It was a jump ball. In the jump ball, the ball was loose ball around. Gordon Hayward got his hands on it, and then Draymond Green immediately got his hands on it right afterwards, and they should have called another jump ball. They called a timeout for Charlotte, which would have gave them the ball with the opportunity to tie the game with like 14 seconds left. Draymond Green went absolutely ballistic because they blew the call. The refs made a terrible call, and it could have cost Golden State the game. But what definitely cost the Golden State the game was the way Draymond reacted. He got 2 technical fouls and got thrown out of the game. The 2 technical free throws tied the game at 100, and then Terry Rozier hit a walk-off jump shot from the corner to win the game 102-100. Draymond, I understand passion. I understand how much you care about the game. I love that about you. It's one of the things I shout you out for it, what you did with Kevin Durant. But that situation right there, you have to be smarter in that situation. You have to understand that you can't get a technical. And then when you get 1 technical, you can't get 2. So for that, Draymond Green and the officiating.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm going to spin it to Shally. Give me 60 seconds of your crazy picks.
Crazy picks for the week for the little sports, for all the little guys that watch all the crazy stuff. Went 4-2 in tennis. The only one I really got wrong was the Tsitsipas from Medvedev. Medvedev just choked in the finals, but if you followed the other ones, you probably win money. I was half a lap away from nailing NASCAR right on the money. But for this week, for NASCAR, Homestead, I have either Denny Hamlin or Martin Truex to win. Hamlin's plus 500. Truex Jr. is plus 700. If you want to go for a long shot, I'll give you William Byron at plus 2,800. Golf this weekend, WGC Workday Championship, big tournament. All the best players are there. It's a huge field, deep field. To win, DJ's, he's the best player on the planet right now. So I'll go either DJ plus 600, Xander Schauffele's plus 1,400. He's kind of played a little iffy the last 2 weeks, so I think he'll bounce back this week. If you're going long shots, Brooks Koepka plus 2,400 is crazy to me. He won 2 weeks ago. And then my favorite guy that I love to hate, but he is a good golfer and he plays tough courses really well, Patrick Reed's plus 2,800. Those 2 guys as long shots that could easily win the tournament. You're getting a ton of value there betting on either one of them. So that is my my nerd corner bets for the week.
You have any final comments, Control?
Surprisingly, no.
Okay, so I just have one. I want to thank all the Wire to Wire listeners. This has been 20 shows. 20 shows, and it's been, we have 300 comments right now on the Wire line for just this show.
For tonight?
Yeah.
Ooh.
300 comments. So I appreciate all you guys and everything that you guys bring. The merch finally got delivered to most people. We're getting it shipped out to people that it's getting shipped out to. We're getting everybody's delivered as fast as possible. Bill just delivering a few tomorrow. So
yep.
I just want to thank you guys for all your support. We are going to take a third merch order for this Friday. So if you want merch, let me know. I will take care of it. It's 4 to 6 weeks right now because of the snow and everything's back ordered. But they came out great. Everything looks awesome. People love the way it looks. So thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for listening live. And please download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, wherever you can download a podcast. For that's episode 20. Thank you, Toxic Radio. Thank you, Hungry for Hope. If you didn't get a chance to see them, they had a great interview on before us. And that's us signing out. Take care.